In 1958, Elvis Presley arrived in Germany to begin his military service with the US Army. He was stationed just north of Frankfurt in a town called Friedberg, but chose to live off base here in the neighbouring town of Bad Nauheim. So hold on to your blue suede shoes, it's time to get all shook up. Although Elvis was stationed at Ray Barracks in Friedberg, he only stayed there for a few nights. For all that the commanding officers were trying to tell everyone that he was just a normal GI, he brought over his father, his grandmother, and 2 of his bodyguards to Germany. His mother had recently died, and hired a chauffeur to drive him from his home in Bad Nauheim to the barracks every day. They spent a few nights in a hotel that stood on the spot where this apartment block now stands, before moving to the Hotel Villa Grunewald, which has resisted the temptation to rename itself Heartbreak Hotel. They lived here for about 4 months, and if you can afford it, you can book Elvis's room. If you can't, you can leave your tribute at this monument, a lasting testimony to one of the first modern global superstars. Following complaints from other hotel guests about the screaming fans, Elvis and his family moved into a pretty ordinary house in a quiet road, which Google seems to think is a museum, but clearly isn't. I'm not sure if the people who live there now appreciate a fool such as I photographing their house, so I suggest you give this one a miss. But don't worry, because Bad Nauheim isn't short of Elvis-themed attractions thinly scattered about, most of them very recent creations, and of course, regular guided tours for fans of the King of Rock and Roll. Die-hard fans of Elvis will no doubt recognise this archway which, minus the cars, featured on the cover of his single Big Hunk o' Love. It leads to the castle, but very disappointingly, this is the castle, or rather it was. It was destroyed in the 30 Years' War, and what now stands in its place is basically an 18th century manor house. Modern Bad Nauheim is home to about 30,000 people, some of whom I can only assume have as pets nothing but hound dogs. It's about twice the size it was in Elvis's day. It carries the prefix Bad as an official spa town, complete with the peaceful and extensive parks, and as such had already attracted a lot of famous visitors before Elvis showed up, including Otto von Bismarck, Tsar Nicholas II of Russia, Albert Einstein, and even Franklin D. Roosevelt, who visited as a 9-year-old boy with his parents. By all accounts, although his wealth allowed him to live off-base, which few of his comrades could afford to do, Elvis genuinely tried to be a good soldier. When he completed his military service, he was honourably discharged with the rank of sergeant. He did worry, though, that it might end his singing career, and in fact it never did fully recover. Although he referred to Bad Nauheim as his European home, it seems that he wasn't particularly happy there. He wrote to friends of his terrible homesickness and was clearly still mourning the loss of his mother. It didn't help that his father met another woman while they were in Germany far too soon for Elvis's liking. I don't know if he viewed her as the devil in disguise or even just a hard-headed woman, but although she eventually married his father, Elvis never really liked her. Also, it was during this time that he was introduced to amphetamines, which he quickly became hooked on, praising them for their energy-giving properties. Later in life, he would campaign strenuously against illegal drug use, while his abuse of legal drugs would eventually lead to his death at the age of only 42. But it wasn't all bad. As a soldier, Elvis gained a reputation for generosity, donating his army pay to charity and even buying television sets for the Post. He discovered a passion for karate and would later incorporate some of the moves into his act. And he was introduced to a girl called Priscilla, and it seems they couldn't help falling in love because they eventually got married. Of course, suspicious minds might accuse Bad Nauheim of cashing in on the legacy of a troubled rock star, but I disagree. Apart from booking a room at that hotel or a guided tour, everything I showed you in this video is free. Spa towns like this were basically built on tourism, but their heyday was more than 100 years ago. I don't think we can begrudge this one just putting up a few public works of art to please those Elvis fans who are going to come here in any case. Bad Nauheim is easily reached by public transport, and I can assure you that it is not a mystery train. From Frankfurt or Hanau you can take any RB train that passes through Gießen, or from Gießen any RB train bound for Hanau or Frankfurt. Thank you for watching. If you were interested in that video, there's another video that I think you might find interesting that I've linked down below. And don't forget, you were always on my mind.